Alright, hey kiddos, welcome back to Miss G After 3. I know it's been a little bit of some time since I posted a video because we've been, equations, but since we've started slope and you have your quiz tomorrow, I figured I'd post a little video as a little review on what we've learned so far on slope. So really quick, just how you find slope, right? If we have a grid, remember we were practicing with the tiles, you start on the counter and it's rise over run. So if I wanted to see what my slope is from here to the corner of that desk, I would have to count on each tile. How much is my rise? That's going to be the top. And how much is my run, which would be the bottom or the denominator. So if I start from here, remember every step is what we count. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope would be 7 because I rose 7 over 5 because I ran 5. 7 over 5 from where I was to this table. It's the same concept. So we start from where we are at, which we're going to start at the first little dot here. We're going to count up and over. Never forget to do your slope arrow, right? Boom, boom, boom. If it's going towards the left, it's negative. If it's going towards the right, it's positive. When it's going straight across, it's 0. And when it's going up and down, it is undefined. So we see that already that our slope is going to be positive. Now we're just going to count to figure out what our slope is. So we're going to count our rise, which is 1, 2, 3. So I went up 3 until I was in the same space as the top one. And I'm going to count my run, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And so my slope of this line would be m equals 3 over 4. And that's how we would do it with rise over run. So if we were trying to find slope using a table or coordinates, right, we have to use the formula. Rise over run isn't going to work because we're not dealing with the grid. So when we're using our formula, remember that the formula for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here we have two sets of coordinates, right? And I always say label them first so that you don't get confused. The first one is 1, the second one is 2. So this is going to be x1, x2. And this is going to be y1, y2. So since our formula is y2 minus y1, we're going to start first with the y. So it's going to be 8 minus 4 over, and we're going to do 3 because it's x2 minus 1 because it's x1. So that gives us 8 minus 4 is 4. And 3 minus 1 is 2, 4 over 2. But remember that our slope always needs to be in its simplest form. So what is 4 over 2, or as we call it, 4 divided by 2? It's 2. So our slope, m equals 2. And that is how we find the slope using our formula. So remember that slope-intercept form? Listen to the name of it, slope-intercept form. What it is it's a linear equation, and when it's in that format, it tells us what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Hence, slope-intercept form. You get it? So if slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, remember that the m is always your slope and the b is always your y-intercept. When it is in this format, we can automatically tell what is our slope and what is our y-intercept. Slope never includes the x. So you wouldn't say slope is mx. It's not, it's just the m. Muy importante. Let's look at an example. So here, state the slope and y-intercept of the graph if our equation is y equals 2/3 x minus 4, right? Remember, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, m is our slope, and b is our y-intercept. So this is easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? I'm just going to come over here, and I'm going to say this would be my m, which is 2/3. That's my slope. So m equals 2 over 3. And negative 4. Always circle not just the number but the sign that goes with it so you know whether it's positive or negative. That's going to be my y-intercept, or b is negative 4. And that's it. When it's in y-intercept form, that's why it's called slope-intercept form, because it gives us the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so here we have a linear equation, but it is not in slope-intercept form. It's all over the place. This is when our lovely equations that we've been spending so much time on comes in handy, right? What do we need to do? We need to move things around. How do we move things around? What? What did you say? Did you just say inverse operation? You got it right, my children. Yes, you did. We need to use inverse operation so that we can get y alone on the left side of the equal sign and everything else on the right. Because remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That's how we want this to look so that we can figure out what our slope is and what our y-intercept is. So in this case, what do we have to move first? We have to move the -5, right? So how do we do that? We say plus 5, that cancels out. Negative y equals negative 3x plus 5. From here, we have to ask ourselves, are we done? Is the y alone? It's not. It has a negative attached to it. Or, as we all know, a -1, right? Because there's always an invisible 1 attached to a variable when we don't see a number there. So what do we have to do? We have to get rid of that negative. Again, inverse operation. When we have a number or anything attached to a variable, they're multiplying. So we have to divide. So we're going to say divided by -1, divide by -1, divide by -1. We need to divide all parts by the -1 to make the equation equivalent. So then we get y equals, what is -3 divided by -1? Positive 3x. What is 5 divided by -1? -5. Now we can figure it out. We know that 3 is our slope, -5 is our y-intercept, and so we're going to say m equals 3, b equals -5. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, so now we're doing graphing lines in y equals mx plus b form. Whenever we're graphing, we need to have a y-intercept, an x-intercept, coordinates, slope, something to work with. Well, of all of our linear equations, we love y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form, because again, it gives us both a slope and a y-intercept, which we know is our starting point. So here, when we, I don't know what I just did. Here, when we have y equals -2x plus 2, right? We need to, step 1, determine what is our slope and our y-intercept. Our slope is -2. And our y-intercept, well, forget the colors. And our y-intercept is +2. So now we just simply have to graph it, okay? Let's see, I'm gonna put slope in red so we know what we're doing. M equals -2. We're gonna put our y-intercept in blue, which is +2. Now here we have our slope of -2. Remember that we want to keep it in fraction form because it's rise over run. So what is -2 or any whole number as a fraction? All we do is we put it over 1. So we would say that this is -2 over 1. -2 is our rise and 1 is our run. So remember that our y-intercept is our initial starting point, is how we start graphing. So 2, we always start from the origin. Here's our origin. We're going to count up. 1, 2. We know that our slope is negative, right? It's -2. So that means we're going to be going to the left, rise over run. So I'm going to be counting 1, 2 over 1. 1, 2 over 1. And if I even wanted to, I could go down 1, 2 over 1 to the opposite way. Bada bing, bada boom. We draw our little line, which we know Miss G does horrible lines, but that's okay. And that would be how you graph it, okay? Remember that the slope is rise over run. And remember, if you're going to be going negative or positive, which way, make sure it's going in the right direction. And remember that we always start with B, our y-intercept. And then we go from there to be able to do our slope, okay? Don't forget our slope arrow to remind us, negative, positive, 0, undefined. Right here, if we have y equals x, whoa, Miss G, wait, y equals x, that looks different. Still in y equals mx plus b form, right? We know that our slope for this is going to be what? 1. Because there's an invisible 1 attached to the x, and whatever's attached to the x is our slope because m is attached to the x. So m equals 1, so it's 1 over 1, rise over run. But Miss G, I don't see a y-intercept. No, you don't. That means that we start at the origin because b is 0. So we start here, 0, and then we just go 1 over 1, 1 over 1, 1 over 1, and we draw our line, bada bing, bada boom. Who's the best? You are. And last but not least, here, what do we notice? Is there an x? No. That means our slope is what? 0, right? So we have slope is 0. And our y-intercept is negative 2. Remember, when our slope is 0, it is a horizontal line. So we're going to come to negative 2, 1, 2. Since we have no slope, there's no tilt, there's no slant. We just have a straight line going across on the y-axis of negative 2. Listen to me, my lovely children. You're amazing. You can do it. Study. You have a quiz. And there you go. Thanks for tuning in to Miss G After 3. See you next time.